Hi, I'm Donna Brooks, and what I bring to my clients, and hopefully I bring to you today, is a combination of better movement function and a relaxed and easy nervous system. So, I'm going to do a little work with you with the pelvic floor. That's one of my specialties, and using the pelvic floor to try to find this core axis that when we connect to it, we almost automatically feel that simultaneously we have more distance from the world and yet we're more authentically connected to it. So you can do this on the floor if you'd like. I'm going to demonstrate this sitting on a stool. And the first thing I'd like you to do is just notice how you are now. So that means, what is your breath like if you don't do anything to it? If you just experience where your breath is moving in your body? If you just experience how long or how short your inhalations and exhalations are. So no judgment and no control, just feeling. And also feeling how your spine makes contact with the floor. So if you've done this before, maybe you've done this many times before, can you feel it freshly, like this is the first time you're exploring all those individual vertebrae making contact with the floor? And at a certain point, if you're noticing down from your upper back to your lower back, they come away from the floor. More so if your legs are stretched out, less so if your knees are bent. But sense from the inside, without touching your lower back, sense from the inside, how big is that arch? And then feel how after that arch your sacrum comes to the floor. And here's where we start getting into really important places with your pelvic floor, because your pelvis is created by your two innominate bones on either side meeting with your sacrum and back. So if your sacrum feels a little lopsided, most likely your innominate bones are a little imbalanced. And if your innominate bones are a little imbalanced, they can be pushing and pulling on the muscles of your pelvic floor in an imbalanced way, causing some places to be more tight, some places to not give you enough support. This can translate into your hips and your lower back. So let's try to start evening that out. So I'd like you to locate your sit bones or your ischial-tuberosities. So if you've taken a lot of yoga classes, you know where they are, kind of up at the top of your hamstring behind your glutes. But you can also find them by finding your pubic bone and then tracking the bone that goes alongside your genitals. And that will take you back to the ischial-tuberosities. And I personally find this more effective because you really get to the point of them more clearly. And it's from that point on either ischial-tuberosity that I want you to start bringing them towards each other and away from each other. So this will look and feel like your lower back is making contact with the floor as the tuberosities move closer towards each other. And it will feel and look like your lower back is moving away from the floor as they spread from each other. But you're not doing this through clenching your belly and pushing it in or arching your back. You're really feeling almost as if those two bones, those ischial-tuberosities, have magnets pulling towards each other and pulling away. It doesn't matter how much they pull or how big your movement is, it's the intention of the action. So you're making it smooth. I would recommend breathing, inhaling, perhaps as your sit bones move away, exhaling as they come closer, so that you get this gentle, easy rocking. And that rocking can continue all the way up through your spine. But you're looking for smoothness and ease have to do it a lot, and indeed we don't have time to do it a lot today, you know. If you want to spend more time, you can always pause the video, but for now, you're just making them even, almost as if they're trying to get to the same point in between them at the same time. And they're trying to leave the same point that's between them at the same time. And that's more important than how far you go or how many you do. In fact, you can take a break and rest. And as you rest, be open to the experience that you're breathing, even from this little bit of work, that your breathing is deeper, fuller, that somehow there's more contact between your spine and the floor, that the two sides of your pelvis might be a little bit more balanced. So again, we're going brief to just notice what you feel. And then when you're ready, now we're going to move the legs. So you're going to have one knee stay stable, one foot stable on the floor, and the other leg is going to arc in and out. So it's almost like you have a string on your knee, and there's someone holding the other end of the string, and they're making your knee take a nice arc inside to outside. And as they do that, your foot's going to move. You're going to feel your weight going to the inside and outside of your foot. I don't want you to inhibit that. I want you to have that movement. But now I'd like you to see how just one side of your pelvis, or one innominate bone, one sit bone is moving, right? If you locate the sit bone, one sit bone is moving towards and away from the center. So now it's only one sit bone, and as that sit bone moves in and out, you've got kind of a vertical line from your pubic bone to your tailbone that the sit bone is moving towards and away from. Again, you're breathing, inhaling in one direction, exhaling in the other. We're not trying to stretch anything, and we're not trying to strengthen anything. We're trying to make a really beautiful fluid movement from side to side. Taking a break. Your sides may feel a little bit more imbalanced momentarily as you do this. But you may overall feel more calm, more centered, and then go to the other leg, in and out, nice, smooth movement. So if you're feeling any kind of jerkiness, then you're just going to see if you can erase that jerkiness, kind of ease it out. If you're enjoying the movement and it feels really good and I'm going too fast for you, then by all means pause the computer and rejoin, because in my actual work, this doesn't get rushed. You know, we take as much time as you need to start feeling like every little piece of this movement becomes more sweet, more simple, more pleasant. And so that when you rest, and you can rest now, you just feel more balanced. You feel more easeful. If I asked you to do, say, a Kegel now, which some of you might want to try, it's going to be easier to engage your strength. If I would ask you to relax your pelvic floor right now, it would be easier for you to feel that relaxation. But for now, we're going to, in our minds, find that central point, right? It's between the vertical line and the horizontal line at your pelvic floor. And in the center of that, again, is the perineal body. So you're going to locate that area, and now you're just going to draw little circles with that point. So I'm sitting here, and you can see, if you take a look, that those little circles are making my whole pelvis circle around. If you're on the floor, you're going to feel your whole pelvis circling around by the back of your pelvis, gliding and making a circle. So whichever way you are doing that is totally fine and appropriate. You'll notice more changes if you're on the floor. When you go back and do this on your own, hopefully later today, you'll really make this movement smooth too, so there's no like bumps and jerks in your circle, but it's kind of like a stirring from the perineal body, perineum. And then you'll have one last break where you can really notice what is different, what has changed about the way your contact is with the floor, what your breathing is like. And then I'm going to ask you to come and sit up. And you need to sit in such a way that you can sit on those sit bones, but you're sitting on them without feeling any disturbance in your back. So that might mean you need a little cushion underneath them. It might mean you can't sit cross-legged, you need a chair. And all I would like you to do now as you're sitting is close your eyes and feel as if from your perineum you can feel as if there's a little root or a little shoot going down to the floor, and at the same time that root and shoot is going down to the floor, there's a kind of an energetic rise from your perineal body to your lower abdomen, and it's deep within you. You know, it's very deep within your core because we're going that far back in your body. And just notice if there's a little sense of a gill or a little spark of energy there. And almost imagine into feeling, another principle of somatics that we can visualize, or we could just have a felt imagination. And that felt imagination starts to take on a life of its own. So be open to a gill in your lower belly. Breathing and seeing if that kind of awakens this little cord coming up from your perineum. Then come to the area of your solar plexus. And if you don't feel this today, you'll feel it in the future. Feeling as if that little area way back, almost back to your spine, but not quite, has a little gill, a little ability to be the first thing that draws in breath. If you like any of these places, you can stay. I'm going to go up to the area of the heart, a little bit more towards the back of your heart and towards the center of your body. And sometimes you don't even necessarily feel these things as breaths or gills. You just feel a little spark of aliveness, and that aliveness helps you to feel that even as you're rooting, your sit bones are rooting, your feet are rooting, your pelvic floor is balanced. There's a kind of very light, thin, energetic raise up. You can find more points than I'm taking you to. You could find another point in your throat. And again, it's subtle, right? Because we're in a part of our body that doesn't physically exist anymore. It existed early in our development, but there's an energetic memory, and we're just trying to kind of spark it up, light it up. And then you can come to a place between your ears, but above the soft palate. If you stick your tongue on your hard palate and go back further, you'll find your soft palate. And this energetic flow might keep going, and I recommend, if you feel it, that it not go out of the top of your head. I mean, it can, it's up to you, but you can contain it more if it doesn't. And just feel what it feels like to be this far deep into your own body. Feeling your breath. And you can slowly open your eyes, and as you open your eyes, let the world come to you. The world will appear. Let it come to you, staying anchored in the center. And I thank you for being with me today. This is just a little taste that I was inspired to do for the wonderful Ismeta organization. And you can find out more on my website.